Boys, I told you, I've been telling you since day one, I've been telling you since the beginning of the year that Volkanovski is getting that belt back. For prediction wise, we didn't do that bad. We did 9-4. The only ones that we got wrong were, we got Pitbull wrong. I don't know what the fuck that dude was doing. Literally, it's crazy if you had to predict what would be the one of the worst fights on that card. I don't think anyone would have picked Yair versus Pitbull. It was. I thought Reyes was getting dusted. He got the KO. Sean Woodson, that fight was called way too early. Is it because I picked Sean Woodson to win? Mainly, yeah, but the other one I got wrong was, who was it? It was Mitch Raposo. I thought Raposo was going to get it done. But with that being said, as you can see on screen, we got every single winner and every single loser besides Nikita Krylov on that main event. And we're going to do some rare matchmaking for every single guy here. Plus, we got those prelims, every single winner on the prelims. But we're going to focus on that main card first of all, because I know a lot of you guys don't care about those prelims. But main event, Alexander Volkanovski. Do you know how happy I was to hear over and over and over again the Volkanovski of old? This looks like the Volkanovski of old. It looks like someone went back 3 years and took that Volkanovski and brought him here. The non-stop glaze fest for Volkanovski was amazing. Was I sweating it up more than Michael Chandler in the second round while watching this fight? Absolutely. My hands all sorts of sweaty. Every time they got into a clinch position, I was just praying I don't see Diego land a nasty uppercut on Volk, but it never happened. Blessed. I think what we do for Volkanovski moving forward, give him an easy ass title fight in Mudaerji Evloev. Plus, at the end of the day, there is no one in featherweight right now that's more deserving and deserves a title fight over Mozar. So give Evloev his title shot. I guarantee Volkanovski is making easy work of it. And I've been saying this ever since the end of round 5. The GOAT. There is no more conversation anymore. Alexander Volkanovski is the GOAT at featherweight and is a top 5. If you want to be very critical, maybe top 7 is pushing it, but we'll say top 7 fighter of all time, guaranteed. Keep moving down though. The loser of the main event, Diego Lopes. It is what it is. I was talking to my dad about it and I'm like, it was just written in the stars. It wasn't meant for Diego Lopes to win this fight. However, we got that Noche card coming up. I think we do Diego Lopes, Yair Rodriguez. Plain and simple. If the UFC do not make this fight for that card, they are brain dead, retarded, old men who are ruining the sport and need to get out. And honestly, just let me run the matchmaking, because I guarantee I'm going to make the fights that people want to watch, like Yair versus Diego Lopes. And again, it makes all the sense in the world to run this one for that Noche card. And yeah, I don't know if there's much explanation for this one, but the one that is going to be very hard to matchmake, I think it's Paddy Pimblett. Now, Paddy called down a list of dudes. It seems like a lot of people want to see Paddy versus Charles. I would love to see that. However, I don't, if we look at the rankings, we'll look at them right now. And the main key factor is, what the fuck would we do for Max Holloway if he doesn't fight Charles Oliveira? I want to see Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira. And I don't really want to see Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier. I don't want to see Max Holloway, Arman, anything like that. Although Max Holloway versus Arman would be a fun fight, and as I'm saying this, I'm psyching myself into seeing that. But with that being said, if it's not Paddy Pimblett versus Charles Oliveira, and we don't do Max versus Arman, if that doesn't happen, I want to see Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje. Now, is this mainly because I don't want to see a Justin Gaethje on a 1-fight win streak on a short notice rematch of Fiziev get a title shot? That's mainly why I don't want to see it, but this is a guaranteed #1 contender. Winner of this, I will not be mad at all if they get the next title shot. If Paddy goes out there and does nasty things to Justin Gaethje like he did to Michael Chandler on the ground and on the feet, to be honest, I wouldn't be mad if that boy gets the title shot. If Gaethje goes out here, has a masterclass, and is the first one to put out Paddy, fuck it, give him a title shot too. I don't care. This is a perfect #1 contender fight. And I want to see this more. I'm saying it now and I kind of want to see the Charles one. But regardless, let me know in the comments below. What would you rather have? Would you rather have Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, Armin versus, who do you do Armin then with? I don't know, to be honest. Fucking lightweight is all sorts of fucked up. Maybe Armin versus Ilya. Would you rather that? Or would you rather have Armin versus Max, Charles versus Paddy, and then again, what do you do with Justin and Dustin? I don't want to see the trilogy for that. Again, I hate matching up lightweight right now. It's a shit show, but let's move down. Michael Chandler. You either straight up retire or we start feeding this dude to up-and-coming guys. A lot of people were saying in the build-up to this fight, if Alexander Volkanovski loses, him going up short notice to fight Islam Makhachev would be one of the worst decisions a fighter has ever made in their career. And I don't see enough people talking about that. This dude sat out for 2 years during his prime for a fake Conor McGregor fight. By far one of the biggest fumbles in UFC history. Again, we start giving him big up-and-coming guys. Ignacio Bahamondes. This would be a fun striking fight. Someone is getting put to sleep in this fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Chandler goes out here and flukes a KO. It seems like a fight that he could fluke a KO over, or he just gets flatlined. And I said in my prediction video, if he loses, he's not going to retire if he loses to Paddy. But if he loses again, he's going to retire. This is Chandler's retirement fight. Let's run this one next. Fucking Pitbull. Such a disappointing fight, very gun shy. This dude was acting like his controller was unplugged the entire fight. Gun shy as shit. And then like the last 10 seconds, he's like, yeah, let me start actually throwing things and being aggressive. Too little, too late. Dan Ige. Mainly because I think Gene Silva is going to enter into rankings. Dan Ige will either stay in the top 15 or get out of the top 15. I think, again, this is just a perfect fight, a good stylistic matchup for each other. We'll see if that fight, that Pitbull was just too gun-shy, the UFC lights were too bright. We'll get those questions answered, and we will just see if Pitbull is just not UFC level. Because that fight with Rodriguez just showed he was not UFC level one bit. Keep moving down. Am I the only one that is absolutely shocked at Gene Silva? Out of everything he could have done, this is how you know the UFC is scripted. Out of everything he could have done, either knocking out Bryce Mitchell, masterclass on the feet, piecing up Bryce Mitchell, or maybe he gets submitted, his ground game isn't that work. Out of every possibility, him submitting Bryce Mitchell was by far the last thing I ever thought would have happened in this card. He got it done. He almost submitted Bryce Mitchell a few times, but he got it done. He is going to be in the top 14 now, 13. I think we get him into the top 10. And a fun top 10 matchup against, honestly, a very favorable dude who is, in my opinion, on the way out. Old man Josh Emmett. This would be a crazy striking battle. Someone is getting put to sleep. Either Josh Emmett is fluking a nasty overhand right, sleeping Gene Silva, or again, Gene Silva, his hype train keeps building and he does nasty work to Josh Emmett. So run this one next. This could be I wouldn't be mad at this as a co-main event on a non-pay-per-view fight in the Apex. Do I want that shit in the Apex? No, I'd rather kill myself than watch that in the Apex, but put this in a crowd, put this on, honestly, put it on a pay-per-view. And I guarantee Josh Emmett would take this fight too, mainly because he's coming off a loss. This is a huge name dude. If he gets that, he gets all the hype back. Plus, I guarantee if this is on a pay-per-view card, it's going to be on that main card. So Josh Emmett coming off a loss on a main card of a pay-per-view, guarantee he would sign that bout. Let's move down though. Bryce Mitchell. My favorite thing coming out of this was right after Bryce Mitchell got slept out. We have Sean Strickland on X saying, I guess God isn't real then. With that being said, Bryce Mitchell, you're not going to get any high-level dudes anymore. I think you're probably going to get a fighter outside of the rankings, and I don't think they're going to be protecting Bryce Mitchell anymore, giving him like a layup Kron Gracie. This could be a competitive fight. I just don't know if Bryce Mitchell is the same dude anymore. Unfortunately, I think he could be a huge personality in the, entertainment space, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, stuff like that. But I just don't know if he's going to be top level anymore. I could see him coming back, but ever being a top level, top 5 dude, no. But Bryce Mitchell, let's give him an unranked dude. Someone who deserves to fight up into the rankings and potentially get a ranking after beating someone like a Bryce Mitchell. Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia is on a pretty good win streak now. Run this one next. I don't think that Bryce Mitchell is going to get any favorable matchups. Am I saying this is a terrible matchup for Bryce Mitchell? No, but it's definitely not a favorable one. And then moving down, Dominick Reyes got it done. Literally fucking Conor McGregor style over Nikia Krylov, the dude I've been glazing nonstop in that light heavyweight division. But it is what it is, you know, fuck it. He was off for 2 years. I'm going to say that was the reason why he got slapped out. But I don't think that we're going to give Reyes any former champions, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think we're giving him a Jamal Hill, a Yuri Prohashka, a Jan Blachowicz. But some dude who's on a huge losing streak. And, you know, I think Dominick Reyes could beat this guy, not have to fight any of those former champions, and still get a title shot just because of his name value alone. You know, I think a lot of people are big Dominick Reyes fans, and the name value alone for Dominick Reyes could get him a title shot if he beats a pretty, honestly, this is a layup, like, path to the title in my opinion. Alexander Ratchik. This dude hasn't looked good in a minute, and I think Dominick might be back, you know. I could see them getting it done. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people would be okay with him getting a title shot after beating a Ratchik. But let's move into these prelims. We'll run through them fast because I know a lot of you guys don't care. You're probably wondering, where's Dan Ige? That means you're retarded and weren't paying attention because Dan Ige is scheduled to fight Pitbull. But Virna Jandiroba, what do we do with her next? Obviously, it's a title fight. If it's not for, you know, Zhang Weili, an interim fight while Yang Weili goes up to become double champ. And yeah, there's not much to be said about this. It's a pretty lackluster, boring fight, but I don't care. Chase Hooper, all I gotta say about this dude is for his interview, same brother. You know, I can relate so heavily to Chase Hooper, but he did call out a few dudes. He called out, I think the best one out of that is gonna be Farid Ziam. And to be honest, the winner of this deserves not just a top 15, but top 10, you know, level lightweight. And honestly, it just makes my life so much easier when they call out their opponents. Something that a lot of these idiots need to learn, that call out your opponents, you know. The UFC, not only do I like it, the UFC like it. So let's keep running down, though. Julian Erosa got it done over old man Darren Elkins. By far, one of the unk type of fights. This was garbage, but let's do Julian Erosa, Andre Philly. Fuck it, I don't care. Anything would be better than what we saw. And it was so sad seeing that interview. Julian Erosa acting like he just destroyed a prime Volkanovski when it was old man Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins should be forced to retire and be on the lookout for that UFC roster guy. Don't be surprised if we see Darren Elkins cut from the UFC after this. It was a terrible performance. But moving down, Michal Oleksiejczuk got it done. And I'm going to be blunt with this one. Just because you knocked out my boy Bunk Gang doesn't mean your ass isn't going to get cut. Michal versus Bruno Silva. Loser gets cut. Both of these guys are on a terrible losing streak besides Michal after knocking out Bunking. But yeah, just because you knocked out Bunking doesn't mean you can't get cut your next fight. Again, I think these guys are combined. If we take out that recent performance against Bunking, I think they might be on like a 7-fight losing streak. Something like crazy like that. Loser gets cut. Run this one next. And then Mudaerji. This guy got it done over Mitch Raparso. I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch that fight. With that being said, Edgar Chairez. I rewatched it. It was okay. There is a lot of glaze for Mitch Raparso, which I don't understand, but run this one next. Then the fight of the year so far. This shit was crazy. Marco Tulio was fighting like how I fight at UFC 5, you know. He was spamming the spinning kicks. He was spamming the Superman punch. He was just doing every like crazy highlight to get that knockout of the year. He was aiming for that knockout of the year, spamming all these crazy dynamic strikes. If you haven't watched this fight, go back and rewatch it. Fight of the year so far. And I think we give him a pretty big jump up in competition against a pretty heavy-handed dude, which, you know, regardless, I could see this ending in a knockout, but I think the guy I'm matching him up with is a little bit at the tail end of his career. I'm going Marc-Andre Barriou. And I think, again, Marco Tulio could probably get a crazy highlight reel KO here. That's what I'm looking for. And for Marc-Andre, you know, you've been a good sacrificial lambs for some up-and-coming prospects. I won't cut you if you lose to this dude, but if you lose again, you're getting cut. But moving down, Nora Cornolle, who cares? Let's do Kayla Rosa. Yeah, those are all the fights I have for UFC 314. And you know, I'm so happy because not only can I just be happy for a week straight because Volk got that belt back, and honestly, I'm so happy. I posted on Twitter that I don't have to kill myself because Volk got that belt back. I'm so happy. And I honestly can't imagine a timeline where Volk gets put out and knocked out, retired, and I have to just like dwindle in that for a week with no UFC. I don't know what would happen. I just know something catastrophic would happen. But yeah, those are all the guys I have matched up. Let me know in the comments below, would you match up anyone else a little bit differently? UFC 314 probably might be recency bias, and it might be because Volk got the belt back, but the best pay-per-view of the year so far. But yeah, thank you guys for watching to the end of the video, and I will see you guys in my next video.